Hello, Jim Howard here in Fort Worth, Texas. You wanted to, real quick, I'm going to try to do this real quick. Let's see here.
On there, the country's hardline military rule.
Okay. I was just watching about the immigration ruling by the United States Supreme Court and wanted to comment on it. I'm going to try to comment on it real quick, not drag this thing out. Uh, the court made the correct decision, and it's a strong decision that the federal government is the one responsible for all immigration policies, and they have authority over the states. The states do not have any authority in that area that the federal government doesn't give them. But the Supreme Court left the one provision in there saying yes, yes, police officers can ask for someone's papers to see if they're legal, if they have, and I forget exactly what the, probable cause or reasonable suspicion. I forget that, those words kind of matter. They left, that provision in there. And then I was watching, the spin being put on it on television, and we're just getting things are getting out of control in the United States. I took constitutional law, and when I took one course in constitutional law, and we talked about the Supreme Court decisions, each of the Supreme Court, Miranda, uh, and all of these other important decisions. We read the and studied those decisions, and when those happened, when those decisions happened, people said, okay, the Supreme Court has ruled, and this is the way it has to be now. And now, with this decision, and I'm sure others from now on, the Arizona, I'm not sure if it's the governor or I think it was the attorney general of Arizona says, well, a victory, we can enforce this, we can stop and detain and people who we think are illegal aliens. Now, we're not going to, this isn't going to be profiling, or we're not going to be, abusing this, but, and then you've got other people coming on here. A guy comes on, I forget which group he was with, Republican right-wing group or whatever, and he says, well, it's up to Congress now. Congress has to come in here and give authority to the states, because it's us fighting this. It's costing the states money to have to take this to the Supreme Court and fight it, and the Congress needs to come in here and give authority to the states to do these various things. That's not, And then, oh my God, you have when you study. Well, when I study a Supreme Court decision, I'm sure I don't know how. When you study these cases, um, you read the majority opinion and study it, and you read the minority opinion and study that or whatever. But I don't. I never, and I haven't read the Scalia thing. I've just heard what people have commented about it. But that's not his raving and ranting and foaming at the mouth and giving his. I mean, he's entitled to give legal opinions, but that's not what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to, these are not his words, but you're not supposed to say, well, this other opinion, the majority opinion, that's destructive to America. That's, you don't do that. You present your legal point of view in there, and it's supposed to be scholarly, it's supposed to be intellectual, and it's supposed to be, what would you say, judicial. I mean, it's supposed to be uh, controlled. It's supposed to be, you know, he even brought into it the recent uh, uh, provision, what do you call it, that executive order that the president signed saying, that young people who had been here, came in before they were 15 or whatever the age was and were brought in here and have gone to school and have not committed any crimes and whatever, that they would be permitted to work towards, they could stay for it and go to school and have a, that was an executive decision. And he brings that, which had nothing to do with this, case. This was after even that it was presented to the court, and the court, her and Scalia brings this in and foaming at the mouth and raving about that and about this executive decision that the Republicans have gone so crazy. How dare the president? How dare him? Supplant the law and whatever. Bush made executive decisions he was making. I'm not sure whether he called those executive decisions or what, but President Bush Jr. when when he'd have to sign a law, God damn it to hell. Okay, I've got to sign this fucking law that the Democrats passed, or that Congress passed. Okay, I signed it. And then he would write, and I'm not sure if that was considered an executive, but he would write something. Okay, I'm signing this law about pollution, but as President of the United States, I'm not going to enforce the regulations on CO2 emissions, and I am not going to. And he would do this on the laws that he passed. He'd sign these laws, and then he'd have footnotes or whatever saying, and President Obama didn't. I'm sure Bush also had more controlled. Uh, you know. Um, Executive. Well, we know he had executive decisions that like, well, you can torture people now. I mean, uh, enhanced interrogation. You can do that now. He did things like that. So, but okay, my problem now. The problem with this is in the past, like these decisions, and the only one I can pop in my mind is Miranda. What's the Miranda and I can't even think of the decisions. I used to be able to think of them. I used to have to know them. But when those decisions were made, people said, okay, well, the Supreme Court's decided, therefore we can't break into people's homes and search for evidence to arrest somebody. We can't, from now on, we have to uh, give people their rights, we have to, whatever these various laws are. Let me tell you what's going to happen with Arizona. Arizona, you've got, I haven't even gone over to Fox News. I was just watching CNN. I'm sure if you go over to Fox News, they're going to be saying, wonderful victory for Arizona. Arizona now, the America's sheriff out there can now continue his crusade to get these wetbacks out of the country. And, let me tell you, what's going to happen. Well, what I fucking hate is when the decision is made, that should be the decision. I picked guns for years. I wasn't in favor of taking guns away from people, but I thought there should be gun control laws that were enforced that made sense. But I'm not talking about taking guns away from people. But I always said from the very beginning, I wish the United States Supreme, because when I read the Second Amendment, uh, I read that as the states had a right to have militias. And the pro-gun people always read it as uh, everybody has the right to have any kind of guns they want. You can have a machine gun, a bazooka. If you can get a nuclear cannon, you can have a that's the way they read. And I always said, no, I think it's clear that the founding fathers, when the Bill of Rights were written, they were giving, because it even says it in there, that the states were allowed to have state militias, armed state militias. But I always said, I wish the United States Supreme Court would make a decision on it. Just make a decision, hear a case on it and make a decision. Well, a few years ago, the United States Supreme Court came out and said, no, that provision isn't just telling the states that giving them, it's giving every American the right to own guns. The Constitution says you have a right to own guns and you can have guns or whatever. And then I said, oh, okay, the United States Supreme Court has made the decision that's been decided. The Supreme Court has decided American citizens can own guns. That it's over. It's decided. That's it. But now with these cases, like this case here, you can see right away that Arizona Attorney General and others are saying, "Oh, we've been vindicated." Or this one provision here. Okay, let me tell you what's going to happen with this one provision, because let me tell you why I know. Well, should I tell you what's going to happen, or should I tell you first what Okay, Arizona is saying, "Oh, tremendous victory! We can stop and detain people." Of course, the Supreme Court ruling is that you can't just be a police officer, can't be driving down the road and see that person over there, they have brown skin. I'm going to pull over. Hey, do you have papers here? It has to be that the police have some type of reason to be in contact with you. There's a traffic accident and you're involved. Okay, can I see your documentation? Are you an American citizen? Or they get called to a disturbance at a house and there's husband and wife fighting. Then they can say, okay, we're here because of this disturbance. Your wife or your girlfriend or whatever calls, says you hit her. Do you have documentation here? That's the type that it's not just the police driving down the road. Okay, there's a Latino over there. Let's go check and see if he's, got legal papers to be here. They can't do that. So let me tell you what's going to happen right now. And like I said, I have met over to Fox News. I'm sure they're jumping up and down saying, "Oh, victory!" Okay, what's going to happen is that right now, Arizona is saying, "Okay, great news. We've actually won," which they haven't. The ruling was very plain that states have, the United States, the federal government has all the authority to deal with immigration, and the states have none. Now, the federal government can, say yes, you can, cooperate, but the states, the federal government, that's their area. They preempt it, and the states have no authority in that area. That's the way it is. That's as it is in other, areas. You can't have Arizona saying, the drug situation is bad down in Mexico, so we're going to send our state guard down there and declare war on Chihuahua province or whatever because of some of their drug problems are coming over here, and we're sending the Arizona. The federal government has the power to declare war and so forth and so on. So there are, there's little things. Let me jump real quick to something else. As an example, cities and states all across the United States have forever, they have passed laws saying that you cannot have a scanner in your vehicle, a police scanner in your vehicle that picks up police calls. It's against the law. The police can arrest you. Now, I think just about finally after it having to go to the Supreme, go up to the courts, um, finally most of the states and cities have put in there, this law does not apply to amateur radio operators, ham radio operator. I'm a licensed ham radio operator, licensed by the Federal Communications Commission. All those laws, I'm in Texas, and I was in Missouri. I lived in Missouri. All those state laws and the city laws, they don't apply to me or to all the other 200,000 licensed amateur radio operators, because we're licensed by the Federal Communications Commission. We have met the requirements to become a licensed amateur radio operator. My call sign is N0UWY. I had to take a test. I passed the test. The Federal Communications Commission issued me a FCC license as an amateur radio operator. So the laws passed by Texas and Missouri and those states, they don't apply to me. That's just that's a small example, but what's going to happen with Arizona? Arizona is saying, okay, we can now, whatever, I forget what the exact wording was, if we stop somebody and have a justifiable reason, and we have a reasonable cause or probable cause to believe that this person isn't an American citizen, then we can do such and such. That's going to be, they're going to abuse it, because you've got all these police officers and you've got all these sheriffs and you've got all these people out there who are going to be running around. Well, okay, I got the, you're going to have the sheriff, some deputy sheriff someplace out in, out in the county with a population of 100 prairie dogs and 25 citizens in the county. And he's going to be, okay, man, I got the authority. When these spics come through here, I'm going to stop them because the Supreme Court says I got the authority to check them out, and I'm going to check them out. What's going to happen is that they're going to, right away, it won't be very long, and they're going to be abusing it and doing it incorrectly. And that wasn't Miranda? What in the heck? How can I not remember the court case I want to mention to you? It has to do with illegal searches. I can remember when I was a kid, the police would stop somebody, some teens or something out, and they would take the seats out of the car, and they would just search, So anyway, the cases go up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court rules, no, you cannot do, that's an illegal search. In order to search, you have to have, a search warrant. And so another case would go up, and the Supreme Court would say, the Supreme Court said, we have ruled on this before, and we are ruling again that in order to do a search like this, that you have to have a search warrant. And then another case would go up to them, and the Supreme Court, we're informing you that we have ruled on this case repeatedly in the past, and this is an illegal search. So, what the police did, okay, the Supreme Court's getting really pissed, Okay, the FBI, go into this house for us and, get this evidence and give it to us. And then, they'd say, well, the police would say, well, we didn't go into we got the evidence and we went into court. Now, the Supreme Court would, no, you cannot do this. You can't try to go around, you have to have so what happens finally, and the Supreme Court in the rulings, said, we are warning you. This is, this is to, attorney generals and to prosecutors and to police officers, stop the illegal searches, or else we will take action that, from here, and we don't want to do that. And so the case and I wish I could remember the name of it, the police go to they're supposedly looking for a wanted man. They knock on the door, and this woman comes to the door, and I think she might have been of sort of low character or whatever, comes to the door, and I don't think she opens the door. They, police, open up. We have a warrant for we're here to arrest so and so. And she says, well, so and so's not here. And open up. We're coming in. We're gonna look. We're gonna look for him. And she says, I just talked to my attorney on the telephone, and he says you have to have a arrest warrant, or I think they had a search. Had to have. I think it was a search warrant. Have to have an arrest warrant. They said, we've got it. She said, well, I want to see it. And she opens up the door a little bit, and police officer says, she says, where's the warrant? Or he says, right here, and she grabs it. And I don't think she even had time to look at it. It was a piece. It wasn't a warrant. It was a piece of paper. I don't know. Probably his list of the horses he was going to bet on, or something at the racetrack, or something. And she grabs it out of the police officer's hand, and they just go busting in the door, and they search and look for the guy, and they can't find him. And then they start looking everywhere, and they look in her desk drawers and her jewelry box. They're supposed to be looking for a man, and a man is not gonna. He might have been a small Hispanic man, but he wasn't small enough. He was gonna fucking fit in a drawer, or a silverware drawer, or a jewelry box or whatever. And I think they went up to the attic, and they looked in suitcases up there, and they found some drawings. Apparently, I think that maybe she had made of nudity. They were drawings. I don't think they weren't even pictures. They were drawings. And they arrested. Okay, you fucking bitch, grab a piece of paper out of my fucking hands and tell us we don't have a right to come in and search your home, you bitch. You're under arrest. Possession of pornography. And they took her. So anyway, she is found. I think she might have been, a municipal court or whatever, judge. Okay, yeah. I see. The police found pornography in your attic. Guilty. And she appeals. And it goes all the way to the United States Supreme Court. And it gets to the United States Supreme Court. United States Supreme Court. God, I wish I could remember the name. Goes all the way to the United States Supreme Court. The United States Supreme Court says, okay, we warned, we made rulings repeatedly, and we warned you. Therefore, from now on, any time that evidence is illegally, seized, it cannot be used in a court case. Any evidence that is not legally seized, no matter what it is, it can be a dead body. If you don't have, which has actually happened after that, the police stopped some, car for some reason, I don't know, tail light out or whatever, and the police, okay, buddy, what are you up to? Nothing, nothing. Nothing, sir. Nothing, sir. Well, give me the keys to your trunk. I'm going to look in your trunk. Well, sir, no, I don't want you to look in my trunk. And, you have to have a warrant to look in my trunk. I'm not giving you permission to look in give me your fucking keys, or I'll bust your fucking head up so much. Give me your keys to your trunk. I'm looking to see what the fuck you got in your trunk. Goes back, unlocks the trunk. I'm not sure exactly this is what, but things come down like that. It came down like that all the time. Pops the trunk. There's a dead body in the trunk. Somebody's been murdered. They can't use the dead body. They can't go into court and say, we found a dead body in this guy's trunk. They can't use it. So that's what's going to happen in Arizona. Arizona is going to, Arizona is saying, okay, we can do such and they'll start doing it. They're going to stop people, and there'll be cases going up to the court, and then the court's going to rule, okay, you can't use that either. So anyway, I just wish that it's gotten so political and it's gotten so crazy that people don't anymore.
To decide if they deport him or not. So it's still a catch-22 in this case, but it is very important. Jeffrey Toobin said it. Starting tomorrow, Arizona can enforce this provision, and it obviously is going to impact a lot of people.
The folks that you talked to, do they think that the Obama administration made a mistake in not taking this on as a civil rights case?
In the beginning, they did.
Okay, thanks for watching.